not on her neck, not on her face, right on the jawline. Is I'm also trying to contour her nose. So I'm bringing the powder. So this is where your contour comes, overlapping your blush and overlapping. Now what we want to do is I want to quickly sculpt her face a little bit with a cream product. This is by Bobbi Brown. It's a face touch-up stick and the shade is Almond. What I want to do is I want to contour her face slightly so that it does look very sculpted, and I can, if I want, contour this area and a little bit of the pout as well. You can, if you want, contour the whole periphery of the lips, but it completely depends on how dramatic you want the look to be. So this is an evening cocktail look, which we can kind of tend to make a little bit more dramatic. So that's how it looks like. You can see, you can do a side to side for the contour to show up. And once you use this particular thing with a stick, you want to do an alcohol spray on top before you put it back. This is my alcohol spray, and once you use it on a client, you want to do a little bit of spray on it. Keep it out to dry just slightly and then close it. So once we've done with this, we want to use the same sponge and kind of go over what we've done to blend it out. So just like so. You can, and you want to ensure that you don't blend it out downwards. So you always blend upwards. I will do one side and I'll show you the difference it makes. So again, here you're going down, and on this area you are going up. And the more you blend, the more it will take away from the definition. So you want to do the right amount of blending. If you blend out too much, then you won't be able to see the product at all. And if you blend not enough, then you'll see lines, which is not something that we want to see. So blending upwards. Then you can use a smaller sponge to blend this, but I'm going to use the edge of this particular thing to bring it onto the lips, and I can blend it that way. And to start setting her under eyes, I want to make sure that there are no creases under her eyes. So I'm using a fresh, clean sponge, and I am doing those same dabbing motions that we did earlier, just to ensure that there are no creases under her eyes. Because if there are creases and then we set the same creases with the powder, then they're gonna stay and they're not gonna go once the powder is on. I'm gonna use the loose powder by Huda Beauty. This is in shade Banana, and I'm taking it on my sponge and dabbing it under the eyes. So again, taking a little bit right here, you can see. And while the client is looking up, I'm trying to push it in just the way I was dabbing under her eyes to ensure that there's no crease. I'm using the same motion, literally the same motion, to put some powder under the eyes. You can kind of stretch the skin the way I am, just to ensure that all the powder that needs to go into whatever creases there are just goes. So with powder, you don't need huge amounts of quantity to put them under the eyes and bake all the time. Only if we have you know, a lot of lines under the eyes and we feel that we need to bake, that's the only time we want to bake under the eyes. So baking would be just putting huge amounts of powder under the eyes and keeping it for a bit so that it can take away all the moisture from the cream products that we've put under the eyes, which can lead to creasing. So baking does help in avoiding any sort of creasing, but it's not something that we need for each and every face and skin. So you want to see and make a judgment. Only if you have a lot of creases, that's when you bake. So for Deviana here, I'm doing a half bake kind of a thing, wherein I'm not putting a lot of powder, but I'm still putting enough that'll kind of absorb each and every all the Ashley product from the cream products underneath. So now what I'm doing with my loose powder, I'm gonna use my MAC Studio Fix Powder Plus Foundation to set this. This is in shade NC35. And I always like to start with the forehead. I'm not going over the area where I contoured. I'm just going over the area that is left. So this is the area that was contoured, this is the area that has been powdered, this is the one that was actually left. So I'm starting to set that, and then later on I will go over the contoured area as well. So I can ask my client at this moment to press her lips once. So this just stretches the skin right here, and you're able to put the powder nicely. So again, please notice that I'm not using any sweeping motions. I am pressing the product in. I'm lightly going over the contour as well, but not taking so much product that the shade of the contour just goes completely. So I have put powder over the contour, but the contour is still showing. So that's how much powder you want to put over the contour so that your contour still shows, but it is also being set. So as you can see, I did leave the areas that I contoured on the forehead because that's the area that I'm going to set with a different product. Same, so this is the MAC Studio Fix powder plus foundation. This is NC45, and this is the brush that I'm using. This is Morphe M438. I'm swirling the brush right in, getting rid of a little bit of excess there, and setting the area that I contoured. So again, my hairline, I don't want it to look too different. So I'm simply gonna just put a little bit of product in the hairline. Also, especially because Deviana here has a beautiful forehead, which is quite big. So if you want, you can contour this area to bring light to the center of her forehead and not put attention to like her full forehead. So this area kind of just stretches, and I'm gonna start from here. I'm swirling so that there's no double chin that shows, even though Deviana here does not have a double chin, but still we want a little bit of sharpness around this area. So we can start from the center and go this way. This is basically the area that I had contoured with the cream contour. So I'm just going over with a slightly darker color. So this is technically not really a contour color, but yes, it is slightly dark for her, so hence we can use it for her contour. I previously used the cream contour in this area, and that's exactly where I'm placing my powdered contour as well. I am not changing the placement. The placement stays the same. It is just that I did give her a little bit of definition with the cream contour, and now I'm just enhancing that definition so that her face looks more structured and more sharp. I am using a line from the earlobe till the center of her nose and mouth. So this is the area that I'm taking the contour, but I'm not blending downwards. So everything is going from here till here and being blended upwards. So if you're ever working on your client and let's say there's light falling from one side and you keep on working on that side and you're not able to work on the other side because there's not enough light, then you need to be careful and understand that it's the lighting that's making the difference, and you should not actually be working according to just those lights. If there's anything that you did not understand here, you can put it in the comment box. So once I've done the contour, I want to do her blush. So again, with a blue colored dress, I generally like a pink blush, but you don't particularly need to. If you want to use a peach blush or you want to give her a look where there's no blush, you can do that as well. However, I'm going to use a rosy kind of blush for her today. So this one is called Coral Red. So it's number 450, and this is what it looks like. That's what I'm going to use for her today. Starting with this area right above her contour, I'm going to start the application and then take it towards the apples of her cheeks. So I never want to start my blush application from the apples itself, because sometimes if you take a lot of blush on your brush, then when you put it right in the center of the face, it does sometimes get difficult to blend it out. So you don't want to do something starting from the center. Always, when you take more product, start from the side so you know how much product you've taken, and then blend it. So that's about the blush. Once we're done with this, I want to simply just use this fluffy brush. This is by Morphe. It's Morphe and Jeffree Star's collaboration. The brush is JS4. So this is what I'm going to use to lightly just get rid of the powder that has been sitting under my model's eyes. All right, so once you remove the powder, you might feel that the eye under eyes look a little bit dry. Don't worry about it. It will look slightly better in some time once we've done the shadows and everything underneath. So don't make a judgment very quickly and start making changes right away.